Welcome to BizTech Forward, your go-to podcast for cutting-edge insights at the intersection of business and technology. Let's move forward together.
Hi everyone, welcome back to BizTech Forward. I'm Anni, and in these next few episodes, we're talking about AI. I know it's really original of me, but this time I want to focus on something specific, something that actually has to do with real life, not just theory, but the places where AI either works or it doesn't. So I was thinking that retail may be the best testing ground for this. Also because retail is very close to my heart. When I'm not working, I spend all my time on fashion resale platforms. So we're told technology is transforming shopping, everything's going digital, AI is personalizing our every click, but still we do go to the store. So I just want to know, what's happening? What's gonna happen? To discuss all this, I'm joined by Dmitry Olerinskiy, Digital Strategy Director at Decathlon, a global sporting goods retailer. Dmitry has been at the crossroads of retail and tech for a long time, so he's actually a great person to talk to about all this. So Dmitry, hi, and thank you so much for making time for this.
Hello, and thanks for having me. Huge thanks for such a nice introduction.
Before I jump in and ask you some serious questions, I want to know, how many times have you heard the word AI today?
You're the first one.
Oh, wow.
It's like it feels like with every hype, at some point people start trying to avoid certain words just not to buzz them too often. So yeah, not that frequently today. I'm trying to avoid it as well.
Oh, okay. So in the next maybe 20 minutes, it will be impossible to avoid it. I'm sorry.
We will utilize my quota for AI words for the next week, but that's okay.
So I want to start with asking you a bit, general stuff, but you've been working in retail tech for a while now, and I want to know, from what you are seeing right now, is there a gap that you're noticing, between what retail companies are doing with AI and what's actually working for customers? Or am I wrong to assume there is a gap and technology or AI is delivering everything that it claims to deliver?
It's a very interesting question. I think it relates much more to the adoption curve of any innovation. So when we're talking about retail, when we're talking about especially customer experience on retail, it's very much about not only the real life, but also that part of real life when everything should work smoothly and when everything already proved its efficiency and its validity. When we're talking about AI, we're talking about something super innovative, something emerging at this particular moment in time, meaning there are so many things which not only haven't proven themselves yet, but also they just appeared. People are still exploring their capabilities and their possible applications and functionalities. That said, it's sort of by definition, of course, certain that in the field, in the store, whatever that store is, for the moment, we don't see absolutely all capabilities of AI we are already aware of. And this is good. I mean, on the other extreme, it would be much worse if we start deploying every functionality we find immediately, because between the moment when we find the functionality and until the moment when this functionality starts working absolutely reliably, there's a certain path and a certain time frame. And if we start showing to public everything we find, people will get much more confused and upset rather than happy, because normally not all experiments work. But as a matter of fact, I believe that we already start seeing a lot of real applications of AI in real world. To name just a few, there's a lot of applications of AI in customer service. There's a lot of applications of AI in trying to help consumers with their selection in general, with sizing, with styling across the board. And these are all real life cases.
You mentioned this word time frame, and I wanted to ask you, what should be a realistic time frame? Because I feel like when we're talking about AI, nobody has patience. everybody wants everything done now and done, really well. So what is the realistic time frame?
Depending on what exactly we're talking about. It's like for
Like,
every technology or for every application of technology, there is different timeline. I believe that at the concept level, it just makes sense to give ourselves enough time for experimentation, so we don't deploy what's not ready yet. We don't eat uncooked bread. We don't eat uncooked pasta. We let it cook properly and then we serve it to the table. So the same thing, the same approach should be applied to AI as well, to any technology, basically. I believe I believe for both of us as insiders on working on the technological side of the things, it's very natural to meet technologies much, much quicker than regular consumer of a Decathlon store of any other store, simply because we've chosen our profession to face this novelty first and foremost, and we've chosen our profession to help those technologies land in best possible way to customer experiences. So we are those who are expected to give it a try and give it all possible experimentation goes before we finally shape it into something which will be how can I say it, which will deserve being shown to consumer.
yeah,
Which
that's
takes
true.
time, which takes time. And I mean, sometimes it's only a matter of refining the approach, and sometimes it's also a matter of technological development. So, for example, with conversational commerce and with all those things which just start appearing, they were unimaginable very recently. They just appeared, and no question that it will take time before all retailers will adapt their technologies and all the connectivity protocols will be built and set up. So these technologies will start being actively used by customers.
I don't know why I'm stressing this so much, but I just really want to know, like, time and all, are we talking decades or are we talking?
The funniest thing about AI I've heard recently, literally just today in one of my other conversations, the guy was pulling a simple calculator from his pocket. I don't know why he carries a calculator in his pocket. I didn't manage to ask. I was so astonished. But he was like, you know what? This is also AI. More than that, this is a generative AI, because when you're putting like 4 by 4 equals something, you're sort of writing a prompt. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I never thought about this in this perspective, right? So I think that a big part of that hype also depends on the words we attach to that and the meaning we're trying to stuff into those words. In reality, we're talking about a very complicated scope and set of technologies, and we have to be, if we want to be seriously specific, we need to be very careful with what we name with the term AI, because it was described many decades ago. It was used here and there, bits and pieces, for quite a while. And now if you remember this innovation adoption curve, in terms of general knowledge of AI and in terms of general accessibility towards AI, we're just climbing up that slope. And since more and more people start knowing the term AI, and since more and more people start having their everyday experience of something which they call AI, it becomes more and more inflated as a hype. But from the technological perspective, it's a totally different thing. And getting back to your question about the time frame, it's not that scary in real life as soon as you start considering very specific applications.
Yeah, that's encouraging. But, I keep thinking that we've had e-commerce for so long. We have apps, we have AI recommendations, virtual try-ons. There is an app that can tell you what color suits you, you name it. But still, the traditional store model works. People still go to stores a lot.
Yeah.
I
And
want to know. Yes, and I just really want to pick your brain on this and just give you, space and time to just like walk us through it. What do you think about it? Why do people go to stores? Why do they need it? Why does the traditional model works? And like, where is this going? I'll stop with the questions for now, but as a side note, I read a lot of Substack newsletters about fashion, technology, retail and all, just because I'm interested. And I see all these gift guides coming out lately. for gift season. And a lot of like influencers, let's call them that, and fashion writers encourage people to go to stores. And, they encourage, like right now, like never before, that, hey, you guys, please go to the store in real life. And ostensibly, like nothing beats in-person shopping. But still, with everything that we see that what technology is doing, I want to hear from you what you think. Why is this happening?
Because people are social animals. We need communities. I think that I think that there are so many research done on that topic, and there are so many observations accumulated over years. We're very social animals. We need interactions. We need other people around us, and also there are different types of fun and different types of entertainment and different types of time spent in terms of leisurely time. And shopping got introduced into our life and takes more and more place as a form of leisure. So, luckily or unluckily, it got so far from transactional meaning of it all the way into just one of the forms of entertainment. So I don't expect people stopping going shopping anytime soon. Why would they?
I mean, it does make sense what you're saying. It's common sense. People need people. People, need communities. Yes. But still, like, I feel like I need something else to be like truly convinced, because when my dream shoes are one click away,
right?
Why bother? Like, why go through all this like shopping, assistance and
there's the whole plethora of reason. I think that this is a very interesting topic to sort of research, or research maybe is too big of a word, but to observe, because when we say to ourselves that my shoes are one click away, I believe that everyone can notice two completely different scenarios. In one scenario, you're just going, making that click, and you're getting your shoes delivered like in a couple of days. And this is just a done deal. It's a pure transaction, and you're happy with your shoes. And in the other scenario, something totally different happens. You don't make this click. Rather, you keep processing that thought about a shoe, and maybe you would like to see another shoe. Maybe you would like to see to look for not just shoe, but shoe in a bag, but maybe something else. And you end up basically entertaining yourself with this choice. And I think that we have to keep in mind that choice sometimes is not a purposeful act, it's just a form of entertainment as such by itself. And that's totally okay. I mean, that's sad. That's in a way pathetic that we need to create artificial need for choice to entertain ourselves. But practically speaking, I think it's important to remember that choice itself is a very interesting entertainment.
That's interesting. I cannot argue with you on this, because if you frame shopping as entertainment, then yeah, people want to go and get entertainment. But
of course,
if I look at it as not entertainment, but like I know what I want, and I want like the most convenient way to get it, and like then I wonder why people go to stores. But if you insist that it is a form of entertainment, then like my hands are tied. I just have to accept that.
I mean, the Nobel Prize back in 2016 was given for a statement that there is no Homo economicus. I mean, I'm oversimplifying things, but even economists who believed for many decades and centuries that people are very rational finally agreed that people are far from being rational to an extreme. So yeah, we're very much emotional, and of course we're going for shopping not just for getting the stuff we need bought and delivered home. We're also getting there a lot of emotional support. And I mean, getting back to the initial subject of a conversation, to the AI, I believe that this creates also one of the strong amplifiers, and also at the same time one of the highest possible hurdles in the road of integration of all possible AI applications into the shopping experience. Because the simplest way to consider AI in terms of shopping experience is very functional. It's like simplifying practicalities of choice, simplifying practicalities of selection. incredibly straightforward, very easy, done way before conversational and generative AI, done before simple filtering, completely not used in real life. In online and digital world, very much used. In the store, nobody uses no screens whatsoever. Everybody likes to talk to a person or just browse through, which means that people choose not only through filtering information, people choose also perceptionally. And the key question, even speaking of fitting and styling, key question is what are exactly those moments and exactly those places on the retail floor, and what shall be the shape of this AI tool. So people will pay attention to that and spend enough time with that. So this advice, so there will be created the space for an advice. That's a big question a lot of companies trying to solve, and the best possible approximation we've got so far are those AI-backed columns, like digital columns, which start talking to you, and you struggle understanding what this piece of iron exactly wants from you. So, but I believe that the underlying challenge there in this specific case is exactly the fact that people are by far not only rational but also emotional, and it needs much more than just factoring out the important criteria.
So I guess it's even wrong to ask, hey, is AI going to replace, physical stores anytime soon? Because like that's not its goal at all, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think like internet never replaced TV, indeed, or like TV never replaced printed media, indeed. They somehow managed to coexist, right? I mean, I'm not saying which channel gets more advertising revenue. That's out of scope of our conversation. I'm saying that all those media channels coexist, and I believe that all purchasing channels will also find their ways to coexist. Exactly because they are much more than just purchasing channels. They deliver much broader scope of value than just parcels and then goods being available for shopping.
And also, when I think about like the chauffeur of the future and AI, you know what I was wondering? Like, what should AI be definitely helping shoppers with? Like, I'll give you an example. For like, if I'm buying running shoes at a store, like, should that store also give me running tips and route recommendations through AI? Because I was thinking that maybe I would trust the suggestions coming from a sports store more than that from ChatGPT, because they at least know what I'm running in. So I don't know, like, what do you think about that? Like, the question is like, what should AI be helping with?
Keeping customers home. I think how can I say it? I think that this question is rather interesting by itself because it tends to pack too many things in the same basket. When we're thinking about running shoes in your example, that's a very strong inference and very long short inference to say that customers are also interested in route advice. In real life, majority of people who buy running shoes are either walking in them to work, just using them for casual wear, or they very much know where they are running. They don't need an advice; they just need a shoe, right? So I think that in simple terms, in simple cases, it's much more practical and trivial. For example, running shoes are a good example because we all have our slight differences in the way we move our legs while we walk or run. And with the longer distances you run, the more not only strain, but also the more important it is to know what exact type of I don't know a specific medical term. So what exact shape of foot of foot you have? So which type of shoes you need to wear, and this fitting can be very personalized for extreme professional athletes. But for regular people, this fitting also provides a lot of value, and a lot of brands produce a variety of different types of their shoes focused not only on colors and models, but also on a very specific requirements of human body. And this automation of selection may be done probably faster. At the moment, it is done by recording on video camera. You run on a treadmill, somebody records you from the back and from the front and from the side, and they browse at a low speed your videos where it's visible how your legs move, and they give you an advice on the shoes. This can be automated with AI, and you don't need generative AI for that. You need a very clear algorithmic AI. But what you need from AI side is a capability to process large amounts of data and interpret video recording on the fly. And this is a very realistic case, which has a lot of value for regular people, but it's clearly not as fancy as something like we connect holistically experience of purchasing a shoe and your overall running journey over the year. I think we will develop making small steps. I think we will develop making most vivid, most natural introductions of the technology in our everyday life, and then gradually building based on that.
And is there a lot of talk about making things even more personalized for customers via AI? Because a lot of the time it feels like algorithms just guessing. Some other time it feels a bit creepy and intrusive. And I wonder like where that line is between, this is useful and this is a bit intrusive, or this is helpful and this is no, AI is failing that.
I think in this conversation, AI is just another tool, and a real balance happens between two forces. On one hand, we have a monetization approach, like companies need to sell more to deliver on their targets and promises to investors. And on the other hand, we have customers' tolerance towards intrusion in their personal life, and customers' tolerance towards all possible requests about their personalized data, which can be processed, and a customer needs in personalized goods. And those two forces sort of balance each other. There will be always a push to try to make advertising more personalized, because personalization from a business perspective means higher conversion. But there will be always a pushback in a passive or in an active way from a customer perspective. They will simply vote with their wallets. They will stop buying if it becomes too annoying. They will stop buying if it becomes too intrusive. And they will just balance each other. With AI or without AI, they will keep balancing each other.
And if we talk a little bit about implementation, I wonder if somebody, a retail company is listening to us, and they are having these conversations internally that go like, hey, we need to do something with AI now. Like, well, what does that mean? Like, what does usually happen? Or what is the first conversation that they should have that maybe they usually don't have? Or like, in other words, I want to hear like if you could comment on some common mistakes that you noticed and would advise against.
I really like the first wording of the question. It's like, what is the first thing to think of is the complex processes which sort of scream to be automated. And the second thing is exactly where you need to process large amounts of data on the fly, or you need to generate all possible options of answers or responses on the fly. This is where at least generative AI may come handy. I would always start from the business need. I would always start from where in your customer journey, if we're talking about retail, you see black holes where customers are lost. And it may be something very simple. It may be something as simple as in-store navigation. Because for larger stores, navigation inside the store may become a challenge at some point. And we have in-store navigation signs on purpose. And if you discover that there are some parts of the stores which are rarely visited, one approach may be to build a huge poster, but the other approach may be to introduce some sort of a digital navigation there. If you have an application, introduce navigation across the store in the application and see how it works. So I would always start with the challenge, start with the pain, and better if it is customers paying.
And then think about the foundations, the fundamentals.
And then, I mean, it's not necessarily that AI will be the right answer to the pain you're facing. Start exploring from the pain and start finding best possible solution, knowing that AI, since it appeared, generative AI, I mean, since it appeared, it just enables the whole new set of tools and capabilities, but they will not replace the clarity in terms of what is exactly the pain. It will still start from understanding what exactly customers are willing to have and they don't at the moment, and how can we make sure that customers start getting what they're looking for in the smoothest possible way, in the simplest possible way. And then maybe in some cases you will discover that AI can be a solution.
Right. I also want to hear you comment a bit like on the human side, not just the the tech side, but when you observe other companies and maybe notice some mistakes, or what is happening? What is an organizational mistake, or more about the human and all this discourse around AI replacing humans and all that stuff. Just
there's massive fear that AI will replace whole professions and whole sets of teams of people. I don't believe it that much. I see that AI at the moment plays as a huge companion to a like qualified professional, to put it that way. I see a lot of attempts to implement AI for the sake of implementing AI because this is the hype. And I think that this is one of the simplest way to make the best possible mistakes, because usually case should come first, and business case and user case should come first. And then the rest is boring. It's like change management is a whole project by itself. Change management is a whole work by itself. And implementing AI, especially given its consequences and repercussions on overall business processes, usually takes quite a bit of change management, which should not be forgotten and missed. But this is rather like classics of implementation of any new technology.
right. Yeah, that's really interesting. I like how direct and candid you are with your answers, and I'm slowly getting to my favorite parts of the conversation that I like to wrap with, and it's like more, talk about the future and what is the view ahead. But before I ask that, I want to know if you have any unpopular opinions on the topic, anything AI, retail, shopping related, something that you think is a hot take that you could share.
On AI?
On AI in retail.
Well, as I said, retail stores will not disappear, and people will keep shopping in offline as much as they do shop online.
Do you think it's an unpopular opinion? Because when I asked you that question, you seemed surprised. You were like, no way that's going to happen. What do you mean?
I don't think that this is an unpopular opinion. No. It's hard for me to pick on an unpopular opinion, because usually I don't pay that much attention on the balance between what I'm thinking and what is the real popular opinion on the subject. I don't care that much. But in terms of AI, I do believe that we will see a lot of implementation and a lot of experimentation around the topic going forward. I don't believe that AI will replace humans to a degree that we should be really scared. I believe that AI serves as and again, I mean, AI is a very broad thing. Generative AI, and the thing which more and more people start being acquainted with, I believe it serves as a huge booster to our awareness about what actually we are professing at and which vocations we're choosing and persuading in our lives. And I feel like previously we've been challenged by the number of professionals in the field, but all those professionals were humans. Now we start seeing the fact that AI is not as a professional as our peer used to be. AI is something which can be taught and educated to become anybody. And I feel like we got a portion of totally new type of motivation with AI appearing, and we are sort of invited to keep developing ourselves and to keep being creative, keep being hungry and curious and all that types of things for the sake of not only keeping professions alive, but for the sake of not missing real opportunities. Because I mean, from the progress perspective, AI being capable of taking over some mundane tasks from humans does not represent a threat, but creates an opportunity for those humans to free up some of their time. And the real question is not about the quantity of things which AI will overtake. The real question to me is if people are capable of doing something real with the time which all of a sudden they will get freed up by AI. It's just an invitation to honestly answer what's interesting enough to persuade next.
And if you think about next year specifically, so who knows, maybe at the end of next year, I'll reach out to you and be like, Dmitry, remember what you said a year ago? So for me, I'm setting it up right now for next year. So what do you think is like the most realistic thing that, will happen next year, with AI and retail, and what might actually change how people shop specifically for next year, maybe?
A very interesting dynamic going on with this AI-driven agentic commerce, conversational commerce. I feel like this either will boost or will disappear. The other interesting dynamic is driven by the take rate of marketplaces and a challenge which this presents to sellers. And this dynamic may bring us back to the standalone brand rising back, which will also start reshaping the landscape of the digital retail industry. I think that 1 year is too short of a horizon to see any significant changes, unless there's some sort of a revolution or some sort of a serious crisis. But what OpenAI did with conversational commerce and what is ongoing at the moment with decrease of cost of all those modal deployments seem to be a very strong boost to technological development and improvement of all those technologies applied in retail. I hope to see a lot of interesting cases, customer facing, and providing real value in terms of a real user experience on the floor.
Oh, great. Let's touch base next
year,
November.
in a year. We will check. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll remind you. And last thing, Dmitry, you personally, what makes you genuinely excited about working in the space right now?
It has a lot to do with people.
Oh, I'm happy you're ending on the people note. Please tell us more.
Of course. I mean, retail is a very interesting industry because on one hand, it's very commercially driven. It's all about merchandising and it's all about making money. At the same time, it's very, very detailed oriented. They say like retail is detail, which is very much so because there's so many things happening at the same time. But the underlying truth is that retail exists only as long as people are there and shoppers are there. And at the end of the day, we are there as long as we can deliver on customers' expectations and we can keep exciting our customers. And I find it very creative and serving at the same time. Like, yes, you are there to develop whatever techniques and to improve whatever customer experience you're having. But at the end of the day, customers either happy or not. If customers happy, they will come back. If customers unhappy, they won't come back. And it's as simple as that. And the existence of people at such a short distance towards whatever you're doing, I find very fascinating. It feels very real. It feels very like purpose-driven in the best possible way.
Yeah, so retail is detail and retail is also people, right?
Of course. People serving other people.
Dmitry, thank you so much. This is really exactly the kind of conversation I wanted to have. I really, really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. And if you have any thoughts, insights, questions, please reach out to us and email us at biztechforward@dataart.com. That's it for today, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to BizTech Forward. Be sure to subscribe and rate the podcast to stay updated. Join us next time. Presented by DataArt.